This is general advice, my opinions, and for entertainment purposes only. CFDs are high risk, past performance isn't reliable. I may be long or short CFDs and stocks mentioned. Content may contain language that offends some viewers. Righto, punters. Episode of Long or Short, as promised. We are looking at Ora Banda mining. Because of this, I hit a button then, didn't do fucking anything. Have a look at that. Big pullback. Biggest pullback out of all the goldies. So if you look at it relatively, that's the 1 month chart of all the gold producers, including the pullback we've seen in gold, and Ora Banda's just been on the back of their cost guidance increase and potentially hitting the lower end of guidance. They've just been hammered. So going from bloody $1.70 to $1.17 or even friggin' lower. So I opened up a long position on them this morning because everything's, I guess, changed on that bloody valuation now. With the share price being hammered that much. I don't think they're going to raise money at these prices. If they were going to raise, they would have raised fucking here. You would have imagined if they were thinking of doing a cap raise, that was the spot to do it. They're not going to, can't see them fucking doing one now to fund the mill at $1.17. I think they'll be looking at whatever other means possible to do that. So I'm going to go through all the pros and cons of bloody Ora Banda, the journey. There's a bit bloody going on. So these historical pullbacks in Ora Banda are bloody, yeah, they've happened before. So this was, I guess, the first big one because it went on that just ripping run. It was the, you know, there's a significant management premium attached to Ora Banda with Luke Cray, most definitely. Fucking good bloke, good operator, done a bloody good job of revitalising a fucking hated, underperforming asset into, well, it's making money at very high gold prices. But it has had some underperformance. It hasn't really hit the mark yet, and we'll go into that. So means it can be susceptible to these pullbacks. So that was the one at end of 25. That's a pretty bloody, what was that? Nearly a 30-40% retracement. This one from $1.20 back down, that was pretty much a 50% retracement. And the one we've seen here, $1.60 odd down to $1.10, so pretty close as well. So she's had a bloody, it's gotten very interesting at these prices, and it's one of those stocks that just fucking can go up. It's got that Genesis Capricorn feel about it. It can, even with a bit of underperformance, it'll recover, and until the proof's in the pudding, it'll sort of just keep following everyone else. So the trend is your friend sometimes, or the trend is my friend. So yes, 24% down since a month ago. And that's, so you can, what that was from the bloody peak up here, pretty considerable drop. So it's their fucking tenement package that is their best friend. I think I've wrote 170 in here, but it's 130 kilometres of strike. So Riverina's there, you got Sand King, that's like your Lady Ida stuff down south here. So it pretty much stretches from fucking Kalgoorlie to past Menzies. So it is, the map, I guess, doesn't do it justice, but that's 130 kilometres of strike. The big knock on it, which has always been the case, the ore reserves. So they've got 2 million ounces of resource, but only 236 ounces of reserve, which obviously makes it difficult for them to get debt. But they do have a 50 mil undrawn syndicated facility. So they do have some debt available to them, and they've got cash in the bank. It's whether they're going to be able to fund it all. So if you look at production, and the prices they've been getting. So benchmark price, the realised price was 4.6 in the September quarter. December quarter was 5.6. And you can see that 33,000 ounces they produced for the sales volume, that was under analysts' expectation. I think it was supposed to be 36. So, and I think gold production was lower. So they've got to have a big quarter on consensus for March and June of 38 and 39. But as you can see, the visible alphas got baked in 6,000 and 6,186 for realised prices. And even with this gold price drop, which is it has, and it's gone up a bit more, the Savi, it's still near $7,000 an ounce. So, and they're fully exposed to that. So yeah, and you see there is the ounces ramping up gradually for FY27 onwards, but I don't think you can read into that much. It's what, 150, 157, 168. If there's a new mill going there, and like some pits and a third underground, and like the story is definitely changing. They just don't have the reserve conversion yet because they're drilling the absolute piss out of it. They're spending a shitload on exploration. So cash wise, so they're scheduled to end, if they hit their lower end of guidance based on the revisions, they're scheduled to have 287 million in the bank at the end of FY26. That will obviously rise even on the lower, the increased capex and the lower. You see, like the capital additions, that's all been lifted as well. And I'll go through what happened in the quarterly. So, look, it appears they could organically fund it, and now the share price is being bloody hammered. I believe that will be the case. That's effectively what I'm bloody punting on, because if they were going to raise, they would have done it before. The quarterly, which seen a bit of a pullback, so they produced 32,500 ounces, but consensus had them doing 36.1. They updated their capital and all-in sustaining guidance for FY26. So, and they're expecting the production to be at the lower end of 140 to 155. All-in sustaining was lifted to 3250 to 3350 because they're sending a heap of ore, as you can see on the chart here. Like out of what they produced, 6,800 6,800 ounces were actually toll treated at Paddington. So, and that means because it's being toll treated, it's a higher cost. So they're mill constrained at the moment, which is why they need to bloody build a mill, and it's costing them more to produce what they've got, but they need the cash to produce that to build the mill. So what do you do? So that cost has gone up. They increased the growth capital by about 57 million, and I'll go through what those initiatives were. Where's that? Oh, we'll get there. There was three big line items. Because Sand King underperformed effectively. So you can see on the right here, the orange is Sand King. The grade dropped from 3.9 to 2.9. They said it's expected to increase. They said they're mined through a lower grade sequence, so they're going to need that grade to increase back to around that level to sort of hit that guidance, because they've obviously got a lot more. Sand King's bigger, like a wider ore body. Riverina's very narrow vein. So that's where the ounce lift is coming from as Sand King ramps up. So that's what sort of dropped them. The capex lift, so they're saying 10 million to progress the new processing plant from DFS to feed, and the feed, like the final engineering design, expected to be completed in the early June quarter. So let's assume max 200 mil to build a processing plant, 3 million tonne. Might be 150. 200 all in for fucking everything, I would imagine. And they've also got putting 30 mil towards open pit mining at Wahi. So it's not a fucking big one, this one. They commenced mining in this quarter. It's only 235,000 tonne at 1.7. It's only 12,000 ounces. So at spot price today, that's about 88 million revenue. Going to be 30 mil of capex to go into it, plus the mining costs. So it's not like a big money spinner. They might make fucking 20 million bucks out of it or something, mined over 8 months. But the key thing is smashing that pit out, making a bit of money, will get portals in for the likely underground if that proves up to be their third underground. And that means, because if you're just going to send a fucking portal in there, you got to do a box cut and go in there from a higher level where you mine a pit, make a bit of money. Even if you got to put a bit of capital into it, as long as you get the money back, make your fucking 20 mil out of it, then your portals get punched straight into the wall and less decline meters because underground's more expensive. So it's fucking smart to do pits, essentially. So that's the win there. So a little bit of extra coming in. I think that'll be milled in FY27. So as I said, the capex was lifted. FY27 capex has gone up from 117 to 170. So that's the 10 mil for the new mill. As I said, 30 mil for pre-production at Wahi and probably a bit going into next year. And upgrading the accommodation, 23 mil, because it's fucking, the site's getting bigger. They need more money to have more people there. So it's she's a fucking setting it up to be a long lifer. Here's the challenge. Here's the knock on Ora Banda and pretty much every underground narrow vein mine. This is where Matty goes on his rant. So you can just see here, this is Sand King. You just see where the stoping front is. They're only just sort of starting this level down here. They're stoping the level above. This one looks a bit further ahead on the bloody northern side. The challenge is, with narrow vein, is just you cannot, especially these days, and I'll explain why, just getting development ahead of production, so you're not working on top of each other, is fucking near impossible. The only way to do it is to slow production considerably or develop fucking 3 or 4 levels ahead. Like, that's the only way to do it, especially these days with jumbo development, because the lasers and everything fucking slow the whole process down. The lasers are there because everyone, including me, did the fucking wrong thing, and you put bloody bolts on the boom. Like, so the laser, you put it on while it's drilling. So you've got the lasers are there now, and sounds like there's no way around them. And that has slowed down jumbo development across the industry. And I assume most bloody mines have got jumbos with lasers, and it slows down development. You don't get the bloody world records anymore. So it is what it is. And trying to get these narrow, and I'll give you an example. So when I was at Jundee, because it's such a fucking rabbit warren, there was gold and shit everywhere, where like they had their shit together there because there's all the existing infrastructure. It was an old operation. They were going in different old areas. So you just go in, and a jumbo would go in for fucking half a year or whatever and just punch in fucking 5 levels. It'd just be a development area of the mine, punch in 5 levels, and then jumbo would finish, and then the solos, the long hole drills would go in and just drill it all out, and that'd be the production area. Jumbos were never interacting with long hole drills. But the new startup mines that have to keep cash flow going just do not have the luxury to do that. Your Northern Stars and that, when they have so many operations and big mines like Jundee with existing infrastructure and going into old areas, you have the ability to do that if you're organised. And that's why Jundee rolled so well. Whereas Ora Banda, in the situation exactly the same as Bellevue, of not being able to, having to keep the cash flow coming in and the share market happy because they're so focused on these single assets that they just can't get development ahead of production. And it's just a constant challenge that they're going to have to deal with bloody forever, unless they just they're not going to have shitloads of underground mines anytime soon and the ability to do that. So that is the challenge, and that contributes towards not meeting guidances because there's so much interaction underground. Rant over. This is the package. So it's just between fucking Riverina, you got where the Davyhurst is, you got that round dam trend. I think that could be a potential big long life open pit, based on their latest results. You've got Sand King, there's fucking shit everywhere, 130 kilometres of it. Now, Riverina, as you can see, plenty of potential for that to keep going deeper. You've got a British line over here, like there's potential stuff out here. So that's Riverina. That was the OG underground. Sand King's the same. That's still open at depth, potentially going to keep going once they explore it. Wahi, so that's likely going to be their third underground mine, I would imagine. So they've got a pit to chuck in there and then portals to come off that. So then you've got Little Gem and Sunraysia. So that's near the Riverina area. So that's another one. You've got bloody Round Dam. So that's, I think, the latest one. Like, there's fucking 7Ks of strike there, of fucking shit everywhere. Like, there is that much organic growth potential. And that Round Dam, as I mentioned, that's like some of the fucking hits were like impressive. Let me bring them up. Where are you, you bastard? Zoom her in. Drilling at Round Dam, so like 14 metres at 18 grams, 7 metres at 35, 8 at 29, 12 at 13. So that's, and as they say here, early indicators are that the Round Dam trend will be highly amenable to bulk tonnage open pit mining with potential high grade chute development. So that's like, there's your potential bloody huge open pit with an underground coming off it, if that proves up. So piecing that all together, the long side and the short side. The long side, the organic growth, they don't if they put all their profits and capital into where they are right now without raising money, if they don't, that'll bode them for it's a big, big growth story once they start converting this stuff to reserves. And I guess they're adding a 3 million tonne mill. They've got a 1.2 already. So just simply 4.2 million tonne at 2 grams is 270,000 ounces. So, and I assume something will be expanded beyond that if they can sustain it. So that's where it's could potentially head. Multi-100,000 ounce producer, fully exposed to spot gold. They've got some put options in place. The management credibility with Luke Cray, it's had a significant pullback, mostly out of the gold, so I guess it presents an opportunity. And their exploration results, like, everything's mineable at these prices. Like, you look at the grades, you can fucking mine anything. You could mine the bloody cracker dust. And that recent Round Dam results, like that, if you can get a large, long life, large open pit, that'll just, be extremely handy. The short side. Why short? There is obviously that risk they'll still cap raise for a 3 million tonne mill. I'm betting on that not happening now that the share price has pulled back. I'm going to be watching this position as it goes up, thinking where it's sitting psychologically wise. FY25, they underperformed on guidance. I think it was set at 100 to 110. I think they only sold low 90s. FY26 is trending to the lower end as well, so there's underperformance issues. They've constant challenge of narrow vein mining, as I said, trying to get development ahead of production, and the only way to do it is slow production, which they're not going to do because they've got targets to hit. And look, it usually trades well with the management premium, but it is subject to these significant pullbacks that I showed to before due to the underperformance. So there we go. I am officially long Ora Banda from the pullback. So we'll see how we go on a gold price rebound. I think, where's gold sitting at the moment? Let's have a fucking look-see. It is, once I get it up, I'll show you the screen. What are we at? 49.31. We've had a bit of a rebound. Look at that. Look at the fucking tails on those candles. Jesus Christ. 49.31. We're coming back. Gold price is coming back. Stay tuned. Righto, punters. Thank you very much. I don't have much else to say. Fucking go mining.